We're starting off on Wall Street with David Benoit, the Deal Journal blogger.
Hey.
All right.
So, what is it? It's proxy season on Wall Street, right?
It's
We're getting
payday,
all the
yeah.
it's payday. We are finding out about paydays, and let's start with the man who is the highest paid CEO on Wall Street. I'm talking, of course, about Jamie Dimon.
Yeah, he's getting about $23 million for his last year,
Yeah.
which is the best so far that we've seen. We haven't seen Lloyd
We
Blank
haven't-
fine,
right.
but unlikely to be better than
Unlikely to be better. Yeah. Now, I mean, J.P. Morgan, they had a good year, right?
they did. Yeah, I mean,
As far as profits go, they had a good year.
certainly, yeah,
right?
19 billion.
Yeah.
They're a pretty strong bank. You can't really argue that. There are things to argue, certainly.
Yes, there are things
But
to argue.
and they also became the biggest bank in the country, both by assets and deposits, which
Past
is
Bank of
a big
America.
deal. Yeah.
All right. Do we know what Bank of America Moynihan did yet?
Yeah, about 7.
7. Yeah.
He got a pretty hefty pay cut. So.
Yeah, so a lot of this too is, and you're a CFO Journal person. You're probably up on this more than I am,
Yeah,
actually.
well, what I was looking at was Jamie Dimon's letter yesterday, which is, he got a lot of pay, but also he looks like he's trying to take a page from Warren Buffett.
He is, yeah, certainly. He wrote a very long letter this
Well,
year.
we're going right to the letter. Huh? We're going right- that's the more interesting thing.
All
Let's
right.
not kid ourselves,
Yeah.
right?
Dimon, he kind of likes to talk, as everyone knows. He spouts off a lot, and certainly this year he wrote a very long letter that yeah, like you said, it's kind of a page from Warren Buffett here.
39 pages, right?
Yeah.
Did you read the
about
whole
that.
thing?
I did.
You read the whole
I
thing?
read the whole thing.
I read the whole thing, too.
You read the whole thing. You read the whole thing, too?
I did.
I didn't read the whole thing.
Warren
I'm not
Buffett
gonna
told
lie.
us to read the whole thing, if you remember, actually. He recommended to read Jamie Dimon's letter.
Yeah. Okay. So you
Warren
read the
Buffett
whole.
recommends
So you
it.
both read the whole thing. What's your takeaway? What's your broad takeaway? Then we can get into some of the things he said there.
Sure. Well, certainly, I think he seems confident, as he always does.
Well, of course.
But and I know there's there's a lot of talk about he's bashing regulation again, and he's certainly not letting that argument go. He is
No.
not a fan of bank regulation.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. You want to talk about bank regulation? I love bank regulation. I love talking about bank yeah, he has a line in there about, well, you can see, we're putting up some of the quotes there.
Yeah.
Now he's talking about housing. All right, well, let's get back to reform because we have a housing. But let's get housing. He says, housing is getting better. There, I said it. It's an interesting way he goes about it, too, right? He says, look, we're not being Pollyannas, but it's getting better. Do you necessarily believe him? Is it getting better? I mean, has it even hit bottom? Prices are still falling.
I don't. He's a tough guy not to believe on things like this in some ways. I mean, he's made his name making calls like this. I don't know enough economics to call the bottom of the housing market, but certainly
Who
he.
does? Jamie Dimon, apparently.
Yeah,
right?
well, he's kind of danced around this for the last few months. I think that's why he wrote it that way. He's made some positive comments, but this is really him taking that extra step.
Yeah.
So it's interesting.
Now, all right, so he bashed the reform effort again, and he complained that the bankers were, he said, we would have loved to have done reform, but the bankers weren't in the room. Just go on Google and Google Dodd-Frank and lobbyists, and you will see story after story that explains how lobbyists were in the room writing this bill, that they were in the room influencing the laws.
And banks have submitted tons of letters on the Volcker rule and everything like that. So
Yeah.
Yeah, so look, I pulled one up here. Here you go. The Center for Public Integrity. They say Goldman Sachs, 97 meetings. Goldman Sachs lobbyists had 97 meetings. J.P. Morgan lobbyists had 75 meetings with regulators, with the lawmakers. Why is he saying that? Why does he keep bashing this when they clearly had a hand in it?
It's a good question.
Dave Benoit, you don't want to answer that question, but answer
No,
it.
he is throughout. He's been very consistent on this, but he's not letting it go, and I give you that. He just wants to keep bashing the regulation, and it seems to be his kind of platform these days. It's not. I don't necessarily know if he believes what he says about it. You can't know, right?
do you know how much the bank is spending on trying to get ready for the Volcker
they
rule
don't.
and stuff?
Well, we do have a story on, let's see, another story that I found, quick Google search. These things are not hard to find online, actually. This is all, I'll credit our friends at Deal Journal, saying the financial industry spent $100 million so far this year. This is last year actually, this is in August. They spent $100 million through last August on lobbying to court regulators over Dodd-Frank. And that was down from the year before.
Yeah,
Now, we don't know exactly what they've done this year, but they're clearly spending a lot of money.
they are, and his points are kind of that. I think what he's saying about them not being in the room is they feel like a lot of the rules misunderstand the banking industry. So I don't know, maybe they need better lobbyists, but
It's unbelievable. And then the guy, he says, "Oh, well, why are people so angry at bankers?" Right? It wasn't that a little bit, they're angry. I don't understand why they're angry. They're angry because the bank's got a free lunch. They got the mother of all free lunches, and here he's still complaining.
Yeah.
Emily Chase, what do you think of that, huh?
I thought he was actually trying to defend a little bit after the Goldman Sachs letter came out the other week too, saying, this is what bankers are doing. He's trying to take that stance too, sort of be the Wall Street defender.
Yeah, I think that's kind of the whole letter kind of is Jamie Dimon kind of trying to be this, grandfatherly figure in the banking industry, the one you can trust, the one who says what he wants and says what he means. So.
Is that really him though?
He says what he wants. Remember when he yelled at Ben Bernanke?
The problem is no one trusts anybody on Wall Street anymore, and Jamie Dimon's not going to change that. Sorry.